And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 74 of the Sling'N podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Kent. And I'm dancing.
Yeah, that would be the loud noises you hear. So, folks, it's just Kent and I this evening. Hope you enjoy the new time. MG, I see you already in the chat. Welcome, brother. Hope Mikey's watching too. So tonight is going to be a little bit of we're anticipating a bit of a shorter episode. But with that being said, I think it's an important episode nonetheless. So before we get into the topic of the evening, Kent, what's new with you?
I'm just texting the word shh to my spouse so that maybe the little human being above my head will stop going 900 miles an hour in a circle.
Dude, my kids, 6 and 12-year-old, they walk around like there is not 100 pounds between them. And they sound like they're carrying a 300-pound dead body around the stairs. It never fails. And it's always when I'm on a call.
I think we're just going to have to get man sheds at our homes.
It's my basement. This little corner is my man shed. But yeah, it's real world. It's a first world problem, but it's a problem. It is a problem nonetheless.
In fact, so what's new with me? Shitload of private lessons, all the private lessons. Going to be teaching some med class. Actually, Green Mountain Defense is teaching its first ever med class tomorrow. Officially, I've helped some people in privates and stuff, but this is like a real deal med class. We're teaching that tomorrow. For free for a board of directors that I'm a part of at a gun club. So getting all spun up, getting ready for that. Let's see. What else? I got Jedi coming in T-minus 3 weeks and counting. Shitload of dry fire. Then 2 or 3 of my own classes, and then Timmy Heron, and then another 2 or 3 of my own class. Man, just what a busy summer. I am going to be a busy beaver. So that's where I'm at. Just doing the shooting. I'm so busy, I shot factory ammo the other day because I didn't have time to reload.
Yeah, I can. What's that like? Because I can't even find factory ammo.
Find is really a misnomer. I have had.
You broke into your stash of
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I cracked open one of them freaking.
You know you're getting desperate though when you start pulling out the self-defense ammo.
No, I didn't go quite that far. Private lessons are not profitable enough for me to shoot dollar around shots during demos. That just ain't happening.
I mean, it's practically where 9mm is at today.
That's what I'm saying, man. I did a class on Sunday, and I did a demo, and I just yelled, "Pow!" And I ran up with a pencil and put a hole in the target. I was like, that's where it would have been, I swear to God.
I mean, that's all you're going to see a bunch of USPSA, IPSC, and IDPA matches doing lately.
Oh, my God.
Like they're going to have like the new attachment for the AR-15. It's like a hole punch.
Yeah, true that. Speaking of AR-15s, I am shopping for an upper.
Okay.
Just an upper. I need an upper.
I might know of a few affiliates.
Yeah. No, I'm looking. I'm just trying to figure out which one I want.
Yeah. You know what? We should circle back around to that.
We should.
We absolutely should. I think that'll be a good segue.
What's up with you, Mimi?
No, real quick. So, as part of me and to piggyback on some of the things that you mentioned with regard to medical. So those that might have been listening to the show last week, we talked about, how recently I had a real world engagement where I actually had to break out my own medical kit from my vehicle and tend to a wounded individual who was involved in a automobile and versus motorcycle accident. So I replenished those supplies through our friend Carrie Davis at darkangelmedical.com, and I got my dark kit and refill stuff in this week.
Yeah,
dude, the quality top notch. It's really there. I'm not just saying that. Full disclosure, this is the first, though we've had Kerry on the show, we've been friends with him for well over a year. This is the first time I've actually pulled the trigger and purchased medical equipment from him. And yeah, did not disappoint at all. One of the things that I really liked about it is that he doesn't just sell the kits. He sells the individual items as well. So maybe you're looking to put together a kit that you have at home already, or just augment with some capabilities. Most of us, if we build a home kit, we'll have some compressed gauze, maybe some rolled gauze, a few odds and ends here and there that we can get at our local pharmacy. But you might want to augment it with some good tourniquets, compression bandages, combat gauze as they call it, Israeli bandages, all those other different things, trauma shears. He has all that stuff individually and for a pretty good price. I know we do usually plug the Bravo 15 or the BB 15 discount code, but I'm on his website right now. He still has his spring sale going on. So for product code Spring 2020 or discount code Spring 2020, or pardon me, 2021, Spring 2021, at your order, you'll get 20% off for his spring sale, which is a pretty killer deal.
Yeah, so, he's always doing good sales on there.
Yeah, it really makes things awkward when we try to pitch that 15% discount code when he keeps undercutting it. So whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, that was good stuff. I was happy to get that back up and running. It's funny. There's kind of an epiphany that I had throughout the course of this whole last couple of weeks. This whole time I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, I've got medical. I'm good. You use a couple things. I'm not talking depletion of an entire kit. You use a couple of things and you feel naked. It's right. It's really weird. I'm like, great. Cause as soon as now that I don't have that one thing,
right.
Whatever disaster or urgent situation that I come across now will inevitably require me to have that one thing that I'd already used. So the old adage, 2 is 1, 1 is none, man.
Your situation kind of inspired me to like fold out a table in the garage and grab all my crap and go through it all. And I'm pleased to say that I have more than enough, so that's good. But now that GMD is going to be teaching some medical stuff before you slam your head on a desk. GMD is a company. Kent ain't teaching medical shit. We done hired somebody for that, or got some help. So don't, I just don't need the comments about stay in your lane. No, I just went and got a freaking army doc to teach medical stuff for me. So relax, and probably 2/3 of what we do is going to be free. So relax. But that being said, you know how that goes. I'm probably going to go out and buy a bunch of shit. So,
I mean, I'm going to tell you, it's worth it. You bring me a couple of people that are like, you know what? I totally get what you guys are saying with regards to the training, like firearms, pew training, live flat range type training. Got it. Hey, I'm not really into it. The budget, just, I can't justify spending thousands of dollars for ammo to go train that frequently. Right. Or I don't want to stockpile that much ammo. Fair. I'll give that to you. Stock up on medical. Don't make any compromises on that shit. Point blank and period. As our friend Jedi says, hard stop. So, but otherwise, things at work have been good, busy as usual. Been doing some interviews. By the way, dumpster fire comes to mind from an interview that I had to host today. So that was that at least brought some levity to my week so far. But
give me like one example of a question you asked.
Okay, no, I'll give you a perfect example. No, like here's the thing. Like, so what the position being interviewed is a management level position, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Right.
When you are in an interview for a manager's position in corporate America, you should be expected. You're kind of dual hatted. You're not just somebody who's grunting through the actual work, the tactical effort, but you have a hand in the strategic planning as well. At least you should in corporate America. If you're not a manager, you're a team lead. Okay. So if you are going for a management position in corporate America, you better have some strategic shit in your head. So when you are asked the question, what is your, if selected for this position, what is your 30, 60, and 90-day plan? upon starting, have an answer.
Well,
even if it's not the right one, an answer is better than I'm gonna watch and learn for 30 days. Okay, what about 60 and 90? Oh, probably more of the same. Okay. Appreciate your honesty. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
I'm gonna find a coffee pot. I'm gonna figure out what the rules are for lunch in the fridge and where can you put it.
Hey man, we all work remote. If you can't find the coffee pot,
I'm gonna talk to HR about that lady who keeps sexual harassing me in the office. That ain't good.
that's your wife and you hired her. Quit emailing the HR director about that.
It's also her.
Yeah.
It's the HR director. She is the HR director.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm recalling a recent meme that was posted on how to ruin a job interview in the first 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I could not even try to post what I wanted to say. But
what would you do to ruin a job interview in the first 30 seconds? Come on, do it.
Oh man, I don't know if I could
fire you. We're partners.
No,
Go.
But see, that's just it. Like, I could think up some really heinous shit to say. I mean, pick a joke that you would find in any barracks, right? The military is known for our dark and demented sense of humor. You know what? Go back through any of the 4 or 5 episodes Cam's been on. Take a 10-second clip of any of that show.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And you'll have content. But yeah, I wouldn't have even I don't know if I'd want to take an interview with a job that I'd be looking at burning in 30 seconds. Right?
Right. Fair enough. So, anywhooser, what we're here to do tonight is to talk about the highly anticipated list of references and resources that I've put together here over the last fucking 15 years.
Real quick, before you get into that,
what?
I want to, there's some, we got to do some prep work here. So
okay,
for those of you that are listening and watching live, I've posted the first comment to this broadcast is the link. I'm also going to display it down here in the page. If you're playing the home game on your favorite podcast player, you can visit greenmountaindefense.com/resources. And that will take you to this page that Kent has so eloquently crafted and put together. Why it keeps redirecting to OnlyFans, we'll leave that in Kent's business.
Cost me to see my butthole.
I don't want to know what's behind the paywall. I don't.
It's just my cheeks just spread as open.
Oh, just stop. And we just demonetized.
There it goes. So here's the thing, right? I get asked all the time by students. I've been asked by podcast people, listeners and fans, people who students in my collegiate teaching stuff. Hey man, what's a good place to find resources on all this? Right? So what I've put together there is a list of resources that I have first-hand experience with. This is not a list of all the good places that you can find information on the internet, because that's called Google. And you have that. I could have just put greenmountaindefense.com/resources and had that shit redirect to let me Google that for you.
I'm just saying that's a missed opportunity, but please proceed.
Right. So this is stuff that I find valuable. And to a certain degree, I know that TJ finds valuable. And why do we find it valuable? So there's some stuff we're going to do and there's some stuff we're not going to do tonight. What we're not going to do is read down through that list and go over every single effing thing. You all don't need a podcast for that. Quite frankly.
Well, they have a podcast for that. It's just cataloged over 74 episodes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You don't really need us for that. What I really want to talk about are some of the ways in which the more initiated vet their resources.
Yeah, it's a valid topic.
Right? So
more of the how
Yeah.
you came to this list, not so much the what is in this
Yeah,
list.
not so much what's on the list, but how do we vet quality resources? So I've got a couple ideas on that, and this was more. I don't think. I mean, it's cool about TJ and I is I don't even have to talk to him about this list. Like he didn't go on there and go, no, I hate that. Like I know him and I are pretty damn simpatico on this shit. So there's nothing on there he's not going to like. That being said, TJ, how do you, like, when you're looking for information on a given firearms, defense, whatever related topic, how do you kind of help separate the wheat from the chaff? Because there's a shitload of chaff.
So so that's interesting, and I'm going to apologize now for the tangent that this is probably going to turn into.
Good.
But
that's why we're here.
You can even ask my wife. When I get interested in something, topic, hobby, whatever, I get obsessed with it. I will fixate on it. So, for example, the knife making, and not even just to the point that it is today. When I just got the wild idea, hey, I'm gonna make a gift for my dad and my brother for Christmas one year. I'm gonna make them knives because for whatever reason they just buy whatever the hell they want anyway. So making them gifts is a really good option. For months, I watched and read countless YouTube videos, countless blog posts, technical documentation on different steel alloys, all this other shit, and absorbed, like I immersed myself in it completely. I am the same way with everything when it comes, like if you were for Cam's DMR match, right? I never got as in depth to long range shooting with a relatively small bore caliber rifle than I did when I knew that I had something to go do for it or something to apply that knowledge to. So the same approach comes along with this types of information, right? Let's just red dots is a thing, right? So I will go into a mode where I will absorb think of it like a funnel. I'll absorb as much as I possibly can. And then I will look for indications of contradiction, right? Where you have reputable resources all saying one thing, and then other resources that maybe not necessarily reputable, but not ill reputable either, right? They're not of ill repute, but they're just unknowns. So you have to start looking for the deviations in the pattern and use that to kind of trickle down into the neck of that funnel to actually shake out what is horse shit and what's good to go. But where I think that puts me in kind of an interesting position is I don't forget the detractors from the final point or decision that I make on it. I always keep those in the back of my mind. Again, addictive and fixating personality, right? I don't ever forget that stuff. I look for them as I look for those detractors to come back up as possibles or something that might grant them a little bit more credence and validity as I experience and immerse myself deeper into that world. That's a really long way of saying it, but I fucking apologized ahead of time.
Yeah. From the perspective of the person who's your best friend on planet Earth, which I hope I still am. I'm starting to wonder about that guy at jiu-jitsu. We have to talk about him later. I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie.
He chokes me in all the right ways. What can I say?
I kind of sometimes forget how goddamn smart you are.
What do you mean you forget?
You are a 100-pound brain, my friend. So what's interesting is, like, we'll use your knife making world as an example of this. Technical journals on knife making. specifically technical journals on alloys and steels and metallurgy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's technical data sheets, TDS.
Oh, sure, I get you. Somebody might say there's no such documentation regarding firearms and shooting, and I say malarkey, because there is. A great example of a technical document regarding shooting is the white paper put together by Aaron Cowan from Sage Dynamics.
That was exactly where my mind was going too. I'm like, that's a perfect example. I think where the difference isn't what is conceptualized as a TDS, right? A technical data sheet. It doesn't have to, like, if you look at a reloading manual, just flip to a page. I don't give a shit. It's got SAMI specs. It's got the diagram. It's got all the different, the different types of components, what powders burn, right? That is a technical data sheet. Now go look at the technical data sheet for a .090 thickness Kydex, which is what I make my holsters out of or my sheaths out of, and they will look substantially different, but the overall approach and context is the same. So, Cowan's paper, absolute technical data sheet,
which is on the list. So there's one. Interestingly enough, so MG brings up a good point. Like MilSpec not being all that great, right? So there are not technical data sheets, but there is a TDP on MilSpec for rifles and for freaking pants and for socks and for shoelaces and everything the military buys. They have specifications for their source materials and all that kind of stuff. So while there's kind of two versions of that same viewpoint, right? One being, hey man, the military grade just means lowest bidder.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Sure, that's true. But also military grade means there's a set standard of known good and working properties.
Yes.
That function together.
Yes.
So this tolerance, this thickness, this metallurgy, springs of this weight, holes drilled here to this diameter, blah, 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 equals rifle that doesn't suck. Now, does that mean that somebody else...
By military standards, doesn't suck, yes.
Fair. We got a 4 MOA rack grade gun that will last 10,000 rounds. Fine. Sure. Yeah. Fine. So is MilSpec good enough for you? Well, I don't know, man. I mean, that depends on who you are. I want my rifle to last more than 10,000 rounds personally, but that's, let's be honest, that's probably not a realistic benchmark for 99.9% of shooters on planet Earth, even if they are mil or civilian. TJ, how many rounds did you fire in the military during your whole career? It wasn't 10,000, I'm certain.
Oh God, no.
Right?
No, so I'll even be real with you. I could put a number on it and it would be below 2,000.
Sure.
It would be easily below 2,000.
Right, because unless you're Army marksmanship unit or tip of the spear, super secret squirrel ninja guy.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
you're not shooting.
Now, infantrymen, other combat arms, military occupational specialties, different story. Your mileage may vary, but for me, as an intel weenie, right, and I was even in an infantry battalion for a period of time in my career.
Right. Yeah. But the point still serves. You were in the military for multiple years, not just you weren't in for 2 years.
Correct. Yeah, five and a half active duty, 2 years reserve.
Sure. You never shot enough to shoot out one rack rate gun.
That is correct. Now that being, and I'll do you one better. The just for as a point of reference, while I was in Iraq on my first tour, with regard to the rifles especially, we actually there was a crew that came around. These were like the MOA. So there's armorer. There's the person that is the custodian of all the weapons for your unit. And then there are like real no shit armorers. These guys and girls will come around with micrometers, calipers, dial indicators, all sorts of different feeler gauges and stuff. And they will actually check to make sure that your weapon is still serviceable. So The reason I say that is because the inherent point is I was not the only one that was issued my rifle in its history.
Sure.
While I might not have put 10,000 rounds through it, certainly the aggregate over its lifespan was well over 10,000. But the military does take active measures to go through and replace that crap. That was actually one of the reasons why they went with the modular handgun system that they did with, ultimately won by SIG, because they wanted all that shit easily replaced.
Right. But here being a perfect example. So MG has taken us down the rabbit hole a little bit on the quality of rifle parts. Now, MG, where do we go for the information that you want on these quality rifle parts? Do we go to ARFCOM? Do we go to Light Fighter? Do we go to Reddit? Do we go to XYZ YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So here's a couple of things I'm going to lay on you real quick. Number one being that the anonymity of the internet does no justice to quality factual information. And what I mean by that is this. That is TJ, the Lead Sling'N Ginger. I'm not going to break his last name up on the internet, but people probably know what it is anyway. My name is Kent Douglas Hauer. I'm at 1453 Main Street, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I own Green Mountain Defense. I post exactly as who I am. There's no anonymity or difficulty or whatever about who I might be or what my credentials are. Whatever I say, you can go to my website. You can look at my instructor's bio. You can verify my credentials. You can talk to 30 other people who might have had experience with me, and they would all verify the same thing. And I have some stake behind what I say. If I steer you astray and I'm incorrect, you know exactly how to come back to me and go, hey, man, this thing was fucking bullshit. As opposed to, Dragon Slayer 223 on, ARFCOM. Dragon Slayer 223 on ARFCOM is probably some dude. Dude, I'm so sorry. If there's a guy with the handle Dragon Slayer 223, I'm not fucking with you. Right? Like, I'm just trying to make one up. But certainly there's a guy on ARFCOM who is a dental assistant. And while my man's doing a root canal, he's on ARFCOM going beepsy, boopsy, beepsy, boopsy, telling you what the best rifle to buy is.
Stand down, citizen. Someone is wrong on the internet.
Right. Now, he may know. That guy may know. That guy may be the guy. He may be a freaking PRS competitor. He might shoot 2-gun and 3-gun. He might freaking he might have taken 20 classes and, burn barrels out and all kind of things. Or he might just be a dude. Ain't nothing wrong with being a dude, but how many dudes and dudettes do you know who have opinions on any number of things, right? We use MG as an example just because it was his topic. MG brought it up. MG is a professional in the logistics world. I'm not going to say exactly what he does, but he's a professional in logistics. If MG is on the internet giving information out about, hey, here's how this is done in the logistics world, I'd probably value his opinion. If Dragon Slayer 223 is over on Delivery.com talking about how people get pallets of shit moved across the planet, he may or may not know. So, yeah, I mean, exactly, Don. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Some are valid, some are not.
And they all stink.
Right. So one of my key ways of vetting what I'm going to call verified information on online sources is, does it come from somebody whose background and credentials I can easily verify? Exhibit A, Aaron Cowan's white paper on RDS. It ain't too hard to figure out who Aaron Cowan is, what his background is, what his knowledge base in teaching RDS pistols is. You can watch video after video after video after video after video of the guy following the same testing procedures on the dots. You can easily get online and verify that he has law enforcement experience. The whole thing is wide open and on there. his opinion matters.
Well,
Right?
and I would even challenge that. So just to harken back to my comment about the detractors, right? Aaron Cowan, X number of years ago, was probably Dragon Slayer 223 to some people, right?
Absolutely. So I was just going to say that. Thank you for saying that. So, if somebody wants to do some real Google fill, you can find a guy by the name of Green Mountain Boy before I done LLC'd, right? So if you Google up Green Mountain Boy's gun reviews and shit, there's years worth of opinions. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, 30% of the shit that I wrote was probably either inaccurate or lacked the experience to give the opinion at the time.
So I would even say, on that same vein, to an extent, the revered Colonel Jeff Cooper at one point was a Dragon Slayer 223.
Of course.
Right? There comes this realization of some of these thoughts and ideas that people have that, oh shit, this guy was right or this girl was right. So don't necessarily dismiss the detractors. I think the long way around, this is a long way around of saying the information that Kent has put together on this resources page is the best vetted information as it exists today.
Oh my God, yeah.
The operative term being vetted, which means like proven and tested, agreed on by many.
Yeah.
So take that for what it is worth. And this list, Kent, I'm sure, I believe you even told me on the phone, this list is going to be living. Like this is going to change. God, yeah. So
absolutely. It's so funny you say that, Chuck. I have sent a text message to the bartender and requested a refill. I think she's changing diapers at the moment. I may or may not see that refill this evening. But yeah, so number one of my things I wanted to bring up tonight was have the ability to vet the individual. Now, so let's talk about this mythical Dragon Slayer guy. God, we're gonna get so much hate mail. There's gonna be like some dude, Dragon Slayer 556 is gonna be like, I fucking hate you guys. I'm like, oh shit, sorry.
It's bad enough we get these random ads for Russian like bot sex dating services commented in the chat after these videos go live.
We should probably talk about the company expense account, but there's problems. I might be in trouble. Anyway, so number one, like, hey, be able to vet who this person is and why their opinion matters. So next thing would be, if you don't know who this guy is or girl, and you're seeing their opinion and you value their opinion, man, go ahead and DM that person and say, hey, no disrespect intended, but you've done a really good job encapsulating this whole conversation. You wrote up a great thing on this here board or post or whatever. Do you mind giving me a little bit of an understanding of what your experiences are that pertain to this topic? And I'm thinking of a couple people specific. Chuck Pressburg used to post as Roland on Light Fighter forever. Imagine telling, Roland, you don't know nothing, and finding out oh shit, in fact, you probably do. So before you just go dismissing the detractors, as my co-host is mentioning, wouldn't hurt you to hit him up with a DM or a message and say, hey man, what's your experience level? Why should I value your opinion over those that disagree with you? You might learn something. You might be surprised and shocked to learn something.
Yeah, so if anything, it's I think one of the reasons that the detractors get so much hate and vitriol is because of just the nature of the internet as it exists today. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't always have this knee-jerk reaction because somebody stated something that inherently was counterintuitive or counterpoint to the preconceived notions and belief structures that we had at the time, right? We listen to them. Even if you don't say anything back, just acknowledging that something has been said or mentioned, and leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Because you never realize what could come back around to bite you. We've heard it even. I think it was Bill Rapier that said, "You don't know what you don't know." Right?
Yeah.
So and that's one of the things. It's probably the most valuable lesson I have learned, and I would argue that I'm still learning it to this day as an adult, is learning when to shut the hell up.
Who said to me the other day? Oh, our guest for next week's episode said to me on the phone yesterday that oftentimes adults on planet Earth don't take the opportunity to shut the fuck up as much as they should.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly valid. I think if we could sow anything into the world that we leave behind, it would be just, you know what? You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak.
No, for sure.
But yeah, so Kent, I want us to get back on track with this resources list.
All right.
So just kind of going over the content. So we've got reading material, we've got video resources, podcasts. Of course, the best one is at the top. And then recommended training. Sure. I don't want to belabor the recommended training too much. After all, that's one of the primary reasons we have this podcast. But I am curious because we have this running gig, gimmick, whatever you want to call it, where we kind of corner our guests to give us recommended reading. What are they reading currently? What do they recommend all of us? So I am curious of all the things on this list. If I had to tell you to pick 2, just 2, what would you say? So let's rephrase this. If this is a living list, what are the 2 things that you think will stay on here the longest?
From the reading section?
Just from the reading section.
Okay. So I would answer your question with a question, which is, what is your goal? Because there's a lot of different content on here. But the one that's on top is on top for the reason, which is Violence of Mind by Varg Freeborn. I'm not big on accolades and certainly I'm certainly no Varg Freeborn. If you told Varg Freeborn tomorrow, hey, Ken Howard says you're the best book in the world, he'd probably be like, who? Fine. I really could care less, but I will tell you this. That is one of the best books on understanding the elements and mindset of the criminal viewpoint on planet Earth that I've ever read.
I'm going to risk being an idiot here.
Sure, man.
Because I've been piecemealing through that book myself.
Sure.
Am I understanding correctly that we'll call it the epilogue of that book that outlines the time in prison?
Mm-hmm.
That's not anecdotal, that's legit, right? Like, did he actually did time for manslaughter?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
I know that's
so. Yep. So that just again lends credence to, if you're going to talk about a vetted source, this isn't a lawyer talking about how shitty life is as from through the eyes of a defense attorney as he fails at life, and all these people he's defending end up going to jail. No, this is a dude that actually did time for murder or manslaughter, whatever it turned out to be. But yeah, he addresses it in the book. I didn't want to misrepresent the information as being anecdotal, fictitious versus real life. Hey,
love you.
Where's mine? Shit.
Tell Mrs. Letsling'N to step up her game, homie.
You're going to be doing this podcast solo for the rest of my life. All 5 minutes of it.
Then here lies my dear friend the Ginger.
Yeah. This episode 75, TJ's Wake.
Yeah. Oh my God. So let's see. So then let's pick a second book, and I'm gonna go just on a whole different rabbit hole. So that's the hey, talk to me about what keeps me up at night and the things that bother me and the things that I consume my time with mentally. Varg Freeborn, Violence of Mind. Fine. Okay. Cool.
Solid choice. I agree.
Talk to me about how to be a better shooter. I'm gonna go with I'm going to go with Refinement and Repetition by Steve Anderson.
It doesn't surprise me. You do reference that one quite often.
Well, it's the one and I mean, no. So here's the thing. There are several of those books on this list. There's Annette's book. There's Ben Steger's book. There's Ben Steger's books.
No. Don't backpedal. I'm just going to email Dave Spalding and tell him that he can kiss your ass.
Actually, you know what? Interestingly enough, so that's a different whole thing. Spalding's book is kind of and that's not Spalding's only book, but it's the one I have on this list. Handgun Combatives is kind of a melding of the two, where it's a book about being good at shooting and how to avoid having to shoot in the first place and what kinds of thought processes and what. So Violence of Mind is all about the mental game. Refinement and Repetition is all about the physical game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of things on here that kind of mesh those two together. So, Spalding certainly is right up there.
You can't backpedal. I'm already telling you, it wasn't your top two choices. I'm going to tell him you said kiss your ass.
I mean, I'm going to see him in 2 weeks.
Episode 76. Kent gets his ass whipped by Dave Spalding.
Right. No, man. I mean, I'm going to be down in North Carolina taking Dave's class, so I can tell him myself, but I have nothing negative to say, so that's silly. He wrote a good book. It's just not, if I'm just picking the two ends of the spectrum, his message is in the middle. Some other honorable mentions here as far as really good authors. This is one I don't, a competing podcast that shouldn't be a competing podcast. You should go listen to it. Is Student of the Gun by Paul Markle and his son Jared Markle and etc. The Markles is et al. I spent several years driving for a living, and screw you, Chuck. I'll see Dave before you will. I'll tell him myself from behind the car, crouched down in the fetal position. No, Paul Markle is a really good author about Paul Markle is a really good author. I only have to couch it on the topic. He writes very well. He writes very well about everything from parenting to his bout with cancer. P.S. His book about surviving cancer is called Fighting Solves Everything, because his version of how to solve cancer was let's shoot more and work out more. And he's still alive. So my man, right? Much respect to you, Mr. Markle. Cooper's books, of course, real good. Left of Bang by Van Horn. I mean, there's some killer reading in here. And the thing about a reading list is like, Jesus Christ, this could be the Oprah Book of the Month Club. Like, I could have given you 11 pages of books. I have many shelves of mahogany that are laden with leather bound. I don't know. What's that quote that you always help?
Awesomeness?
Right. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
When in doubt, go with awesomeness. It's usually the best descriptor.
I'm looking at several shelves full of books over in that area. Like, I do read. And I have the Beepsy Boopser over here, which lets me read whenever, and some of it even talks to me sometimes. Point being, there's a ton of good reading. Yeah, Don, I mean, man, honest to God, we could no shit, we could do a Book of the Month Club if we really wanted to. I actually would be down to do that. But the point being is, man, there's good information out there. What you'll notice from all these sources, so from Varg to Rich Nance to Spalding to Anderson to Evans to Cowan to Basham, all these people have direct experience in the fields that they've written about. They're very well vetted and very well versed in their topics. And as such, the books are actually pretty easy reads, because it's not conjecture. So one of the things that I would kind of circle this conversation back around to is that if you're looking for information on a given topic, chances are there's a vetted, published, peer-reviewed author on the subject, as opposed to just a dude on the internet.
Yeah, and just to go back to our analogy, even with like the knife making stuff, right? Before you go down the nerd wormhole of technical data sheets and metallurgy and all that other shit. Seek out people that might not even necessarily be instructors, but have been practiced in the craft for years, right? You get on these discussion boards and you go to them and say, hey, old timer, you've been making sharp, pointy things for a hot minute. What are some references that you used? You don't even have to tell them to teach you anything. Nothing tangible, really. Just ask them for a recommendation. That's one of the founding principles of this podcast was to give you guys recommendations and information from reputable sources, not just the videos and the reading list, but the instructors we recommend to you. Even if they're not instructors, I guarantee you, between Kent and myself, we know someone that has the answer that you're looking for, that we trust, and should be considered vetted at that point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So while we're talking about the various types of material, let's go to the one that's we're not even going to check off recommended training. We're not even going to touch it because, let's be honest, we've talked a ton about it and they've all been on the show. You get the idea, right? So let's talk for a minute about video resources. There should be a noticeable thing here. What I did was simply go to my YouTube. I keep two YouTube logins. I keep a personal YouTube login, and there I watch endless amounts of silly comedy and cats knocking over jars of milk, and children saying funny things, and America's Funniest Home videos, and the stuff that I show Little Man, and watching Family Guy episodes with little dude falling asleep on my chest and all that cool shit. Then I have the Green Mountain Defense YouTube, which Green Mountain Defense's YouTube, which I'm logged into right now, is just nothing but this stuff. It's all the gun channels, right? And I'm gonna name off a couple themes about these YouTube channels. And I might ruffle some feathers. I might piss you off about your favorite superhero or celebrity guy or girl. I really don't care. But say for 2 or 3 on this list, most of the people on this list of YouTube channels have under 50,000 subscribers. Many of them may have half that. Many of them have a quarter or less than that. Myself and TJ included, because we're both on this list. Aaron from Sage Dynamics is obviously an outlier in that. So is Active Self-Protection, and so is perhaps the Humble Marksman here. Everybody else on here is lower on the list of subscribers, lower, certainly not as well known a YouTube channel. However, I find them to be some of the best sources on the web for this kind of information. Primary and secondary is a great example of this. Tim Herron shooting is a great example of this. We've had Tim on here. We talked to Tim about his YouTube channel last episode.
Yeah, but I think he's been on 4 times now?
Sure. Tim Herron Shooting's YouTube channel does not have nearly as many subscribers as it should. And I'm going to tell you something. An argument could be made. Of course, I would never, I don't believe this, but if you wanted to tell me, man, I don't need to take Tim's class because he put all the info on YouTube, I might actually have to go, yeah, he put a lot of shit on YouTube. He put an awful lot of info on YouTube for freezies, not for Patreons, not for a buck a whack, not for nothing. 100% free. Tim Herron Shooting has between 2 and 10-minute videos on every kind of shooting a gun topic that you could possibly imagine, right? So that's a perfect example. PNS has created an entire network of quality information, very similar to what we've got going on here. They don't have huge subscriberships or huge followerships or anything like that. Jedi's channel, Modern Samurai Project. Jedi's infamous, well known for teaching on the dot. His channel doesn't have a killer amount of subscribers. Hilton Yam from 10-8 Performance. My goodness, if you want to know anything about a freaking hammer-fired gun, Hilton Yam probably knows it, specifically single-action hammer-fired stuff, 2011s and 1911, stuff like that. The guys at Apache are doing a real solid YouTube channel. Dark Angel Medical has free medical training on YouTube. Done by Kerry Davis, not done by Jimmy, the guy with the tourniquet. Like, you get my point here. My point being that the YouTubes is one of those places where flashy and aggressive and over the top and controversial, why we should kill all the Democrats kind of content is gonna freaking light the interwebs on fire. And a guy like myself going, hey dudes, let's talk about how to dry fire a little bit better. Nobody gives a shit, right?
I would summarize it in this is probably the simplest way I can sum it up. Beware the YouTube channel that publishes more than weekly.
Ooh, that's a real you know what? Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I don't post that often. You don't post that often. Guys, I know it's controversial to say this in the gun community to certain circles. T-Rex Arms doesn't post all that often, right? Jedi doesn't post that often. But here's what that means. In YouTube speak, because they're not regular content generators, they're going to fall lower into the bottom ether of the algorithm. They're not going to be recommended. They're not going to be suggested. They're not going to have that high subscriber count. But transversely, look at the YouTube channels that do have a high follower content. They post routinely. They post regularly, daily, if not multiple times a week. But look at the content that they're creating. How many times do you guys want to waste your precious time watching somebody window shop for guns for you?
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I like some of the gimmicky shit too. I'm interested in the newest gun that's out there. Sure. I'll watch all of about 30 seconds of it. If you think the video is getting a like or a comment or anything other than that effort to see what's the main point of this idea, that's all that's getting from me. You want something that's going to have my attention? Post stuff like what's on this list. Because when any of these guys start talking, I shut up and listen. It's that simple. How much of it is going to be gimmicky, hokey, window shopping, product pushing bullshit, and how much of it is going to be quality content that's actually going to enrich your lifestyle and these hobbies, be it a hobby or not, that's actually going to enrich your skill set and lifestyle.
Yeah.
There ain't that much to say about guns that necessitates a publication of a YouTube video every day.
That and this, call me elitist, but I don't have time to talk about shooting guns on the internet all the time because people are paying me to shoot guns with them. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but Jesus Christ, like, we could either sit in our basement and talk about it all day, or we could actually go out and do it. You and I have gotten an amazing amount of content put out and a shitload of quality information. What was I looking up the other day? Oh, I was looking up scope leveling information, and your video popped up, and I was like, yeah, I remember that. Like, what I'm
that
saying?
That one actually, I'm surprised that popped up because it got restricted.
Yeah. But
it got restricted because it was showing gunsmithing.
Yeah. But we're too
not in a fucking scope.
my point being is that, like, man, I taught 15 private lessons in the last 10 days. In the last 5 days, excuse me. When am I going to sit down here in my basement and fucking like, what are you kidding me? I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
We have work to do. We have lives and careers and things, and this damn list should have been out a year ago. The truth is
the funny thing, like I know I had the conversation with you. I had the conversation with several, popular YouTube gun channel people. Private conversations, like on the phone, not like this email, texting back. I mean, I'm calling them on the phone. Yeah, man, I know you like what I have to say. I've got an issue with making a YouTube channel. Why don't you make a YouTube channel? Because I don't want to be the next guy talking about how awesome the fucking Glock 19 is.
Yeah.
Right? What are your thoughts on the Glock 19? Buy one. What more do you want? Right? And of course, we made a Glock 19 video because, well, that was at the time where we were both like, we need content.
Yeah, I know. Fuck that. I'm done. I just don't care anymore. Here, if your Glock doesn't look like this, I don't want to hear about your fucking opinions on Glocks. Like, leave me alone. Just go away. I don't want to hear about it. If you don't have a Glock that's got like pieces of your skin worn into the stippling and scratches so deep in the slide that you could like shave your nails off of, stop it.
Yeah, I think, by the way, just for context, I think that was the point that he was trying to make, folks. You don't have to necessarily buy all that shit. Although recommended. I think he was talking about the mileage that's clearly apparent on his firearm.
Yes. Like, this is like
hell, there was when I sent mine up to Limitless. Is that blood? Yes, it is.
Yeah, no shit. I'll never forget. Dude, we were no shit working on TJ's gun with my cousin and I. And he goes, bro, what's that rip? Is that blood? And I went, yep, that'd be blood. It just looked at me, God damn. Like, I don't know. Some people shoot guns. Other people talk about them on the internet. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so bullet sponge 555s. So there's a funny example. Bullet sponge 555s is actually a pretty legitimate person, but he has a silly name on the internet too. Different evolutions of the gun owner, right? Like, yeah, man, absolutely. I'll out myself or I'll make fun of myself or whatever. I used to watch a shitload of Hickok 45 and nothing fancy.
Because you didn't have shit else better to, because the DMV was closed.
Right. No, because that's what I was like, oh, this is cool. This old fella's going to tell me about this here firearm. And it didn't take me, I'm sorry, Mr. Hickok. Like, you're a nice guy, but Jesus, every conversation is the same. It's the same video. It's the goddamn exact same. Let's see if I can hit the gong. The gong's the size of a tractor. You're 87 yards away. Hit the gong. Stop it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just people, man. But yeah.
So that being said, let's talk about how to vet these things. So, another weird juxtaposition is the position of marketing in the space of reviews and content. So I'll give you a for instance on me. I'll give you a real honest to God for instance. Okay. So we have affiliates, greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links, right? You go buy gun stuff, they pay us. No secret there. One of the secrets or one of the questions may be like, oh, do you recommend XYZ company or XYZ brand? So a gentleman who I highly respect, I would ask him about revolvers and CZ handguns and all kinds of stuff that, I've shot competitively against this guy, has gotten into PRS matches, not PRS, gas gun matches. And he was starting to hit me up about optics. And he sent me a link. He said, have you seen the new Primary Arms Platinum Series ACSS, blah, blah, blah. My response was basically a picture of the one on the gun hanging on my wall. Like, sure have seen it. I done got one. I has one, right? Oh, what do you think of it? Now, this is a friend of mine, a person I know in person, a guy I shoot with regularly. And I said, well, I need to be entirely honest with you for a quick second. Said, what do you mean? So, well, Primary Arms is an affiliate on my podcast. The argument could be made that I stand to make at least a little bit of money by sending you a link and telling you about how great this thing is. Oh, well, okay. Well, what do you really think of it? What do I really think of it, dude? It's hanging on a rifle that I'm intending on picking up in the most God forbid situation that could ever be present. Like, I think this is a great optic, clearly. But I never made content on it. I never made a review. I never posted this is the scopiest scope that ever did scope. Because it came from an affiliate of ours. And I really don't feel the need to be the next sales guy out here telling everybody how amazing things are.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I will tell you that Primary Arms has gotten more than their money's worth, because every time I've shot a rifle class, I've been like, here, dude, run this optic. Have fun. God bless. Go. Let's see if it breaks. I don't know. Let's see if you have a problem with it. Let's see if you don't like it. I've gotten overwhelmingly positive feedback. And because of what I do in the industry, numerous people have had their hands on my product.
It's probably the dirtiest thing ever said on this show.
Yeah. That said, yes. See, look, here's a dude who was in my last rifle class. Was that the pretty red triangle optic? In fact, it was the pretty red triangle optic, Mr. Don. There you go. Point taken. How many dudes that day shot that rifle optic? 8, 6, whatever. Point being, you won't go out on Green Mountain Defense's freaking YouTube and find me doing Primary Arms ACSS 1 to 8. World's best red dot optic, question mark, explanation point, $sign. I'm not going to do that. At some point, when I'm really done, really done, I'll go out and do hey man, I've had this thing for no shit 3 years, and it's still on the same rifle it was on, and it's still zeroed, and it still works, and I still like it, et cetera, et cetera. I'll do real content on it. But so many of these people are being sent products on Friday, and by next Sunday, they've got a video out. The new XYZ 123 72 48 75. Come check out how amazing it is. www.thegunchannel.com. Like, I just can't. I can't do it.
You almost expected to see like one of those hokey, like stereotypical deep backwoods Texas used car salesman. If you can't find a better deal on my lot, I'll eat a bucket of crawfish out of my hat. Like, it's some dumb hokey shit like that. Yeah. I will to make the point more clear. There isn't a list of recommended products on this resources list.
No, exactly. That's my whole point.
Right.
That's my whole point. Anything that you can spend money on this resources list is taking training outside of my company. How much more not capitalist could I possibly be? I'm literally telling you, go train with all these other people. Kent has a great radio voice and the face for it. But in fact, I do. That's why the YouTube gets dozens and dozens of views, and the podcast is going to overtake Joe Rogan someday. Maybe.
It's a lofty goal, my friend, but we'll try. We will try. No, I want to be on his podcast.
No, I'm funny. I also like the UFC. I don't know shit about mushrooms. I can't do Muay Thai. I'm not as well built. Never mind. I'm valuable and people like me. God damn it.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my last. Man, if this vetted place on the internet stands to sell you products at a direct profit to them, if a guy's got a YouTube channel and a gun store where he's selling the products that he's talking about on his YouTube channel, I don't know, man. I'm just not into it.
I would say this. There's nothing wrong with that. However, don't be upset when you turn out disappointed.
Well, that.
Right?
Yeah. And this is another place that I'm
Well, no, I can sum it up for you real quick. That's perfect. I can make it so easy. All these people touting all this shit, all these products, right? Ask them what they carry every day. You have literally 5,000 videos on all these different guns and shit.
Right.
And how fucking great they are. How cool that $5,000 alien pistol is.
Right.
And you carry a Glock 43X.
Right.
Right? Okay. Y'all pick it up what I'm putting down now?
Right. Then maybe, and this, I don't know. This is just me, and I don't care. I'm just gonna be me. But if I'm watching your video, and I try not to be an elitist dickbag, but if I'm watching your video about guns and how gunny the gun is of all guns, Gunny McGunderson, right? And you're telling me about Gunny McGunderson and how gunny this gun is. And you're shooting the trigger to reset, and your support hand grip looks like sausage fingers, and your elbows are locked out to the moon, and you're tactical turtling like a motherfucker, and we never see your targets. Maybe I don't care about your opinion. I'm sorry. Incoming elitist dickhead comment. Yeah, I don't care. If my students are better shooters than you, why are they taking advice on what gun to buy? I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Like there's guys on this thing, numerous of them, who are decent shooters in their own right. And my question to you, Sponge or McKellar or Chuck or whoever, would be, why do you give a fuck what XYZ guy says? Bullet Sponge getting a little froggy calling people out, right? Hey, man, like, why do you care what this person says about guns if you're a markedly better shooter than they are? I'm pretty sure Jeff Gordon doesn't ever pick up the phone and call me and go, hey, man, what do you think of this new Big Block 454?
What can you tell me about the Kia?
yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure you don't need my help, right? Like that's kind of my thing. Well, so much of this content.
Well, no, I would say this. I think it's about rephrasing the question, right? If we could equip our listeners with anything, it would be the right frame of mind.
Yo,
don't look to these people that are pitching a particular product, and there is some good comparative videos out there just for the sake of comparisons. It's not all pushy marketing gimmicky shit, but I would change the mindset. Instead of looking at that video and trying to discern whether or not that person is recommending that particular product to the viewers and listeners, but come at it from the perspective of, why do they recommend this? What about this gun or this product makes it better? Or even better, what makes it good enough for my specifications? Like, people ask me all the time, why did I choose Glock? Right? That's a good question.
Yep.
No, they don't come. That's a good question. It's that simple. Why did I choose it? And I will give you a buy list. I have it detailed. I got rid of several guns just so I could streamline my collection to predominantly Glock pistols for at least the firearms that I rely on.
Yep.
Right. I've got other shit. I've got a 1911. I've got a 22 revolver. I've got some other rinky-dink shit in there. But I've chosen Glock because it meets all my specifications. But damn it, I can find a million videos about why the CZ, hell, I even made one. Why this CZ better than Glock? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Interestingly enough, does not have nearly as many views as my Glock 35 video. I think it's because I waxed my nose hair in that video.
That was a Glock 34 video.
34 fit, whatever.
No, not whatever. Now I have to get mine back out. It is life.
A barrel swap makes it a 35 or a 34.
I'm the best gun ever. I'm the best gun ever.
Well, since you're going to threaten me. But yeah, so that really kind of wraps it up, folks. I mean, we didn't want to bore you too much with our ramblings. I'm glad we could entertain you. But yeah, greenmountaindefense.com/resources. Go read some shit and watch some educational content. Enlighten yourselves and enrich your lives.
Ooh, all right. Hang on. One last question, then we'll wrap up.
Sure.
That was a good one. So Don McKellar, just like anything else, it's about what you're trying to get out of it. Are you looking for a review of a firearm or a training technique? If a technique, how do you decide what matters to you? Yeah, great question. So here's the thing, right? What is your paradigm? What is your real world of work? What are you doing with this thing that matters to you? I don't give a shit what the other guy's doing, right? If you're a father of 3 and a guy that works in a professional setting somewhere, wears a suit and tie to work most days, except for the Zoom apocalypse, which is what I'm now calling COVID. It's just the Zoom apocalypse. Everybody works on Zoom anymore, right? And your whole real world of work is just, man, I got to keep my wife and kids alive and myself. That's a little bit of a different training paradigm than, hey, I'm trying to go win USPSA Nationals.
Or I work in an inner city as law enforcement.
Right. That being said, there's shit you can learn from the USPSA Nationals guy. Lots and lots and lots of it. There's also shit you can learn from the inner city law enforcement dude. What I would tell you is if you're talking about training techniques in specific and in particular, man, that person better be able to demonstrate their technique to you. Because the guy on the interwebs can talk till he's blue in the face about the technique. And if the technique that works on the internet never works in person, that might be a clue. Now, the flip side of that is I shot the GMD standards demo live on Sunday, and I shanked a shot, and I said to my students who were paying me money, well, I fucked that one up. I mean, hey, man, we got to be men about it. Like, sometimes it doesn't work out right, but it has to have at least worked out most of the time to the point where you can articulate it.
I mean, I would even argue that because it's not glorified on YouTube and even in reading material, training techniques, right? Because it's not glorified, people are being led astray with regards to what they should be training and to what standard they should be training to.
Yes.
Right? Why am I worried about the flying backflip hatchet attack from the Russian Spetsnaz when I can't get the holster, when I can't even get my cover garment out of the way to clear my holster?
Yeah.
Right? But you're never going to see that video or those resources get recommended on garment clearing or the intricacies of garments or clothing style choices for the concealed carrier, because everyone's clicking on the Russian flying backflip Spetsnaz hatchet attack. For Christ's sake, people give Lucas at T-Rex Arms shit for teaching tactics when he has openly and vehemently disavowed the teaching of any tactics whatsoever, because what he does looks cool. Explain that one to me.
Well, he done got caught speeding up some videos.
Who gives a shit? To Jedi's point, he could add frames and still be faster than a lot of us.
This is true.
right? Uh, it's prioritization, folks. It's prioritization.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just mad he took my company idea because I'm the shortest arm shooter that you ever did see. I should have a company called T-Rex Arms.
I would say that's a fair statement.
That's just fine.
I have actually met the guy, and he's quite tall and lanky.
Right. It's
near a semblance to the T-Rex. I'm just throwing that out there.
All I'm going to say is I worked real hard for my shooting skills. And to try to bolster them on the internet with nonsense is something that really bothers me as a professional.
Yeah.
That being said, I really don't care. If he was coming to PA, I would take a class with him. I would like to see, and he's not even really offering classes, so it's kind of a moot point anyway. But
no, he does do them, but they're isolated.
Right, but point being, man, if I had the opportunity to spend a day with that,
but no, hold on a second, because that goes back to our original point about the validity of the content being put out less than weekly or less frequently than weekly or daily.
Yep.
Watch his videos. He breaks down some great shit for free.
Oh, I know. No,
right?
No. Yeah. I kind of have that. I'm of two minds on it. My one mind is, man, if you could show me something, I don't care about your morals. And my other mind is, man, I know a lot of real quality dudes who can show me something who I know about their morals, and I feel good about it. So, little column A, little column B there. Lucas, if you ever hear this,
it's the duality of man.
Yeah.
Right, you're allowed to be of two minds, but we have to recognize we have to recognize the skill when it's there, like you said, and I think that's really the summary of your point.
Oh, the kid's a freaking rocking awesome world-class shooter by any measure. He's really good. That's perhaps the most bothersome point of that whole thing at all. Is what the system, as such as it exists, has in some way incentivized him to exaggerate what are already world-class skills. That's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
That anyway. So I didn't want to soapbox on Lucas, but anyway, TJ and I just want to come on here and talk about how do we vet content, how do we vet who we trust and who we don't trust. We've looked at some of those key points. TJ has a great point about, hey man, don't just totally discount the detractors. My point about the anonymity of the internet is certainly solid. The ability to look at and vet those people in an individual one-on-one basis is really important. Man, just like anything else, caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. You never know who you're getting your information from. Vet your sources and don't be afraid to ask those people about the originality or about the origins, I guess I should say, of their content. That's all I would say about it. Don't be afraid to send a message. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I certainly am not. That's where I would leave it. You got anything else, man?
That's it for me, man.
Cool. Well, there's no dichotomy as a firearms instructor. Be awesome, teach awesomeness, get everything you dissect by internet ninjas. Yeah, I like it. So that being said, there's no guest to ask for book reviews and all that. Of course, this whole episode has been about book reviews anyway, so that's pretty cool. Keep up with the charity stuff. Check out the Teespring website to support the charities that our folks have pointed out over the last 20 or so episodes. www.greenmountaindefense.com/training if you want to know where I'm at or what I'm up to, or where you can get classes from me. I'd love to have you out. Private lessons are booking. Holy smokes. I'm soon going to be at capacity for private classes. So if y'all are down for the clown, let's do this. Get on there and book yourselves those private lessons. greenmountaindefense.com/training one more time. You guys are the best audience on the whole damn planet, all 5 of you. I don't give a fuck what the world says. You're my bestest friends, and I really appreciate you jumping on here all the time. If you guys want to train with us, you know where to find me anyway. Man, TJ's making some world quality knives. Landon's here right at the end. Landon's here. Pooh Bear.
Right at the closeout.
Right at the closeout. Here comes Pooh Bear. Love you, Landon. Speaking of Landon, if you want other quality firearms training, Apache Solutions in North Carolina, ApacheNC.com. Yeah. Of course, our website has a list of recommended instructors on it, so you can go, and if you're in Wichita, I can find you a trainer. I promise you that. Let's see, what else? How do I get a lead slinging ginger knife? That is TR Knives at TR Knives on Instagram is how you get a lead slinging ginger.
Honestly, just message to the Facebook group.
Yeah, TJ's a little busy these days, but if you want a TR custom knife, I'll put in a word to the man himself.
Yeah, hit us up on Facebook for those of you listening. Just go to the Facebook page, Sling'N Lead Podcast, shoot a message over to us. Kent and I both monitor that, so we'll get it. We'll get you taken care of.
Oh, Rodney's talking shit. Take the Apache EDC course and earn it. Yeah, you can do that too.
No, that's for one of their knives, of course.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So TJ, you want to close this out?
Absolutely. So Kent, as always, it's a pleasure doing the show with you, my friend. Even when we don't have a guest, it's always an entertaining conversation. Enlightening, nonetheless. With that being said, folks, we couldn't do this if it weren't for you, so we appreciate your support. If you're playing the home game, if you missed the live broadcast, you can always catch us on your favorite podcast player or streaming service, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, the whole lot of them. We are there. Of course, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the live show. Generally, every Tuesday, of course, we post on Instagram and Facebook when we are going to go live. We will be live next week at this time. So starting at 8 Central, 9 Eastern, moving forward will be our new time slot. So you can catch us here, of course, and we appreciate any live commentary or questions that you might submit to the chat while we are broadcasting. We'd be remiss if we didn't once again formally mention our affiliates, greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links. If you're going to buy gun stuff, you might as well buy it from some vetted and reputable sources that ultimately provide some level of support to the show so that we can keep delivering this content to you time after time. greenmountaindefense.com, of course, for all the training information and Kent's calendar. darkangelmedical.com. Got an awesome spring sale going on. Get that medical equipment, get it stocked up. You never know when you're going to need it. And when you need it, you're probably going to need more than what you already have. So head on over to darkangelmedical.com and be sure to enter into your order notes that the Sling'N Lead podcast sent you. We get no kickbacks from that at all, but we like to show Kerry Davis some love and let him know that we're thinking about him. With that, folks, that's all we have for this week. Until we see each other again, God bless you, take care of each other, and get out and shoot.
Bye, everybody.